What's up, everybody? Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork Guide, sitting in my nice, cozy garage. I'm going to give you a Lake Fork rundown for December 17th, really the last 3 or 4 days. I promised you guys that I'd give you some information. I know that some of you diehards still love to come out and fish, even in the cold of winter. Well, that's really where it is. It's pretty darn cold. I woke up to frozen ice bowls this morning, or frozen ice in the dog bowls this morning. With yesterday, I think the high was 40. So we do get cold in Northeast Texas. The good thing is it doesn't stay very long. So we can have winter and summer all the same day. But let's talk about the lake real quick. Last time we talked, 54.1. So the last rundown, 54.1. 1 to 2 foot visibility. It's even clearer now. Maybe 1 to 3 foot visibility. It's really clear in a lot of places. Level before last rundown, 400.64. So we had a little bit of rain. The lake come up half an inch or so, maybe an inch. And then it's kind of already back, dropping very, very slow. Basically, as of today, it's 400.69, which is 2 1/3 inches, somewhere in there. I'm 2 foot 3 inches low. Okay. 53 degrees, really lower 50s. 53 degrees this afternoon. Today was really kind of not a warm trend. We warmed up to 56 degrees today, 16 degrees warmer than yesterday. But this is, remember, the surface temperature. So this afternoon we reached 53 degrees, but basically expect to see the low 50s. I kind of make a joke when you see the Lake Fork or any lake, pretty much any lake anyways, below 50, like 46, 47, you realize that if you're going bass fishing, the best thing to do is just straight fish from your couch at home. No, you can still catch them. It's just a good joke. Ha ha ha. But anyway, so here's what you're going to do. If you're coming to Fork and you're not crappie fishing, you're looking for bass. And the reason I say that is crappie is excellent this time of year. If you can find them, they're really bunched up. And if you can get them to bite, you can really catch a lot of them. But I'm a bass fisherman, so let's talk big bass and Lake Fork. How about that? All right, here's the thing. You're going to either need to fish in pretty much 1 of 2 places. The first is a little more simple than the second. So here we go. Your creek swings, your creek channel bends and swings, okay? Creek swings mean when the channel swings up next to the shore. And usually you have steeper bluffs and things. That's where you want to be looking, okay? The bends, the big channel bends, I want you to look at 3 bends. The 8 to 12 foot bends, the 18 to 20 bends, the 28 to 30 bends, deep-wise. That's the depth, okay? Fishing these bends and swings, you have to remember that a bend on one side is a point on the other. This is where the creek made a swing in the old days, and it washed out. So one side's going to be deeper, steeper, and have roots even exposed from them big oak trees. And that's where they get when it's really, really, really cold, really, really, really nasty. They get in those roots. On a nice sunny day, they might come up on the other side of that creek swing and feed or sunbathe or enjoy the sunny, warm trend. That's very little movement for the bass during the wintertime. Okay, so creek swings and bends and channel swings when they're up next to the shoreline are the places you're going to start to look. All right, really hard, no secret that I'm showing you, but really hard to put down a rattle trap. Okay, I like to throw a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce. The reason I'll go 1/2 ounce is I have to fish it faster in that shallow water. That's where I'm going to throw it. Super skinny water, preferably on warm trend days only. Is where I'm really going to focus on backwaters and shallow. I'm going to leave those creek swings and all that, and I'm going to fish the flats that are near those creek swings that I just talked about. I'm going to fish them fast for a reaction bite, a snap bite, okay? This imitates the brim. Basically, I believe it's our pumpkin seed brim in the wintertime, and our crawfish. They get really, really bright orange, bright red, therefore Sam Rayburn red, Northeast Texas red. This is called chili bowl, 1/2 ounce. Basically lipless crankbait. One of my favorites when it's really, really cold in the flats. More on a warm trended day. But I wanted you to know that before I talk about how to fish these creek swings. It's a jig. 99.9% of the time, you can throw a brush hog on a Texas rig and a couple other things, I suppose. But the best thing, the most easiest thing, is a jig. Now we're going to do this different. We're going to change from that football jig that you hear me talk so much about. We're going to change to more of a grass jig, or what Santone calls as a rattling jig. All right? I do want the rattles on this too, because I'm going to get this bait in those roots, in that channel bin, when it's real, real cold, and I'm going to leave it in there. I'm going to antagonize those fish that are hunkered down. They're bedded down like deer in those roots. I'm going to antagonize them. And that rattle and all that noise, okay, can help, okay? Now, real important, I tend to always throw a 1/2 ounce. I almost always throw black and blue. Sometimes I'll throw a little bit of black blue, and this one has a little purple in it as well. But a 1/2 ounce, black and blue, rattling jig, Santone rattling jig. And here's the key. In the wintertime, I also get away from those paddles, okay? I have these ones just to show you. I want something more subtle. Everything is cold. Things are moving slower. So I want much more subtle, like this minus here, or even just a beaver, the regular beaver from Reaction Innovations. But get a little more subtle, all right? Some days, warm trends, you still may want to go back to like Rage Crawl and have that absolute swimming action. But most of the time, I'm going to be subtle, okay? I also will choose a black and a brown or black and amber, but 99% of the time, it's black and blue, okay? So that's what I do. What do I throw that jig on? 20-pound fluorocarbon. Straight 20-pound fluorocarbon. I'm going to use my real-time rod. Oh, here's mine. I got one on it right now. I got a beaver on here. That's what I wanted to show you. This is a Reaction Innovation beaver, and it's just real subtle. It's when it slides in and out of the roots and over, it just slides instead of paddling and swimming, and it really emulates that colder creature as they would be in real life. Okay, cold and lethargic. But I throw that on 20-pound fluorocarbon. I throw that on my real-time rods, custom real-time rods, McFarland's signature. Okay, this is the MB 7'3", 1530. This is a 6-power rod. This thing rip. I mean, I can literally boat flip a 10-pounder, no problem. I don't and I wouldn't. But if you saw me boat flip with the Alabama rig, this is the rod. 2 5-pounders. I can lift a gallon of oil off the deck of my boat. This thing is so powerful. It allows me to feel the bite, super, super sensitive like a G Loomis, and I can just rip them out of there and not worry about the fish winning the war. So again, the MB 7'3", 1530 with McFarland signatures. I'm going to put a Daiwa reel, high-speed reel, no matter what you do. I'm running the Daiwa Tatula. I run the 100 8.1 on most of my jig rods and things like that. Sometimes I'll go to the 150 for a little bit more line. But I want that high speed, 8-to-1 gear ratio. Okay, that's what we're doing with that. All right, the jig. 90% of the time, that's what I'm going to go catch my fish on this time of year. Santone, baby. All right. Now, here's another really cool way. Most of those fish that I'm going to catch are going to be slot fish. Those of you that don't know what a slot is, that's a fish it's 16 to 24 inches on Lake Fork. We can have some double-digit fish that don't reach the 24 inches. So I'll get some big fish. But where are those teenagers? Where are the 10s, 11s, 12s, 13s and up? Majority of those have not come in yet. They're not moved in staging or anything. We're not there yet. We're in the heart of winter almost. We're coming to December 19th, which is the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. All right, we are going down still for a couple more days before we start coming up. All right, and we'll talk about that in the future. But here's the key: offshore and deep. All right, and when you go offshore, it's no secret. Anybody that knows offshore knows that they got to look for bait. Okay, you have to look for bait. What kind of bait? All right, I'm going to really let some meat and potatoes out right now. But you're not looking for shad. I guess you could say you're looking for really, really small shad. You're looking for balls of bait that are so light pink and so subtle in the graph, maybe even blue, with your colors because they're young babies. And those young babies are getting eaten by the yellow bass, the barfish. And the barfish are getting eaten by the teenagers, the big old 10-pound plus largemouth bass. Okay? So, I'm letting the cat out the bag here. But you want to go offshore. You want to look in humps, road beds, some of those same places we would in the summertime. Those deeper holes, those deeper locations. All right, 22 to 35 feet. All right, you'll make sure that there's barfish present. Find them on the sonar. After a while, you get to use to know what they look like. First thing is take a small spoon. I love a little glow spoon. This is a spoon that I can hit with a light, a flashlight on it, and it'll absorb that energy and it'll glow down in the water. That is not UV. You hear me talking about the tight line UV, guys? That's UV reflective, like a mirror. This is a glow, all right? But I want a small spoon. It can simply just be a little white shad spoon. All right, I love the glow spoon, and I also love like this clown spoon, chartreuse clown. But I'm going to find what I think are barfish, yellow bass. I'm going to drop one of these down on a light line and catch one just to make sure they're barfish, because the bass usually don't eat the white bass. You can find a school of small baby whites and be confused with the sonar. Drop in and catch one. If you're on the yellows, that confirms it's yellows, barfish. Number two, you get to see the size of the barfish, the actual size, because now we're going to match the hatch. All right, we're going to go to Lake Fork tackle lure spoons, or any other spoon, but this is a Lake Fork tackle lure spoon, barfish color. And we're going to match the hatch. Okay, if it's really, really small yellows, then you're going to use accordingly, 3-inch, 5-inch, and so on. If we have to get really big, we're going to go, this one's just got that nice chartreuse flash on the yellow tail to imitate the barfish, okay? That's letting a huge secret out. If you didn't know that, you do now. And if you learn how to go apply that, that's how you can catch a sherlunker in the middle of winter time. Remember this. Couple things. I'm going to leave you with some special tips at the end of this rundown. Number one, on the jig, you do have some plastic that's going to go with it. So since fish are really lethargic and they're inactive, I highly suggest that you give the real-time rods magic reaction. This is our scent. This is an absorbing scent. There's no oil, and if you'll soak your plastics in this the night before, specifically your trailers, they'll absorb it and they'll smell like something you ain't never seen before. That's delicious, and it works. It truly works. I put my name to it. So first thing, real-time rods, magic reaction. It is really important now if you're running soft plastics in winter to have that smell. That can really coax them. You're bouncing it on their nose in that root, and they just, man, that added smell, make them eat it. The second tip is if you're spooning offshore. Remember on cloudy days, to go to gold. Okay, get away from the tradition on real cloudy days and throw gold. If you do these things, you'll catch more and bigger bass. All right, I'm Mike McFarland giving you a Lake Fork rundown. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me some thumbs up, give me some comments, hit the subscribe if you haven't. Find me on Lake Fork Adventures Guide Service. Hopefully see me on the water. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to all of y'all. Have a great time fishing on Lake Fork and catch a big one. I'm Mike McFarland, giving you a Lake Fork rundown.